correct.
Oh.
Just thought
there.
Right, good evening everybody. Welcome to the Thornton Parish Council meeting, Tuesday the 7th of July 2026. The meeting's being filmed in line with the Council's protocol on audio-visual recordings of meetings. We're going to have a public question time in line with Parish Council rules. For anybody that's new, there's toilets at the back, and if there's a fire, which we're not expecting, you go out the door you came in. So I'm going to switch the agenda round. I'm going to switch item 26, 27, 322. I'll take that first and follow that with 321, which is the co-option. So any apologies for absence? We're all here, aren't we?
Yep. So doing the public session.
Sorry?
Are you doing the public session?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll start with the public session. Yes, I'm changing things around, aren't I, and ahead of myself. Right, so any questions? And can I just say, is it a question that's not about highways?
No, it's a question about procedure. Can I just ask, under your chairmanship, at what point at all can members of the public ask questions or intervene?
They can ask questions in the public question time.
But after that?
No, it's a council meeting in public, not a public meeting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we can't make any comments at all during the meeting itself?
No. So any other questions?
Yes, I was talking to some visitors at the weekend and they were asking about the vegetation in the back on Chestnut, opposite Chestnut Avenue, you know, on the back side.
Right, so along the A170?
Yes.
Right.
And they were saying, were we deliberately leaving it to grow unruly and be a mess? And asking who was responsible for cutting it down and looking after it. And I said, I did not know, but I would raise it here and then they could watch it. And I would have the answer.
So is it vegetation in the back or at the side of the back?
It's growing in the back and up the wall, which is, I believe, belongs to the hall, and actually in the back. You know, opposite the aunt's houses.
Yeah. So it's not the ranunculus that just grows like seaweed along the river bottom?
No.
Right, so it's actually growing up in the wall. I think that'd be national parks. Because it's national parks land. I mean,
No, they were just
the
saying,
environment.
it looked unkempt and not very good.
Haven't we got an agenda item, Jenny, for the national parks enhancement of the village?
There is just an update from John because he went to a meeting today, but I can let the Peter Lockwood know, the ranger, and get him to take.
He just does footpaths, doesn't he?
Well, he's sort of liaison with the parks.
Right,
So
okay.
I could just send it to him and he knows who to deal with at the parks.
Right.
I'll do that.
Any more? Mark, you've got a question.
There's two. The first one's probably the simple one. The last council meeting to talk about phone box is within the current parish plan. Is the parish council for or against replacing the current phone box with an old red phone box? Money aside, if it was funded externally, would the parish council be for or against replacing the phone box?
Well, that's not a decision. That's not a decision we're
It
making tonight.
can't be replaced.
We
The
don't know.
decision's already been made by the parks and BT that it's got to stay, and it's to do with the phone.
So what happened was British Telecom did a public consultation exercise, and they wrote to a number of people and consultees, and they also they can log all the calls that have gone from that box, and they found that the phone box was still being used. And when they spoke to people, the consultees came back saying the phone box was still in use because there was very poor mobile signals, so it was needed in case of emergencies.
So that wasn't the question. Would the council be for or against replacing it with a traditional red phone box?
Well, hang on, Mark, we don't make decisions like that just on a public question.
No, but the question can be asked in public session. I know you don't have to answer it now. The question is the parish council, subject to funding externally, for or against a red phone box replacing the existing phone box there now? I appreciate you can't answer that now, but the question being asked is the parish council for or against it if there was external funding to do so?
Thank you for your question. What's the next question?
The next one about the parish plan. So I sent an email on the 11th of June, following the last parish council meeting. A few points. I think Councillor Tempest, I'm very pleased with the sort of 4 points you raised because I think you hit the nail on the head. So I was very, very pleased you got the same way. There's quite a number of comments that you raised there, Janet, which I put in the email, I offered to come and meet you all at the separate meeting. So has a separate parish plan meeting been held? And was there any comments on the email sent? Because I didn't get any response from anyone other than Jenny acknowledging the fact that it had been received.
Well, we've noted the comments, Mark. And we have had a separate meeting on the parish plan, yes.
And there's no response from any of the parish councillors on that one? Was there any comments in terms of the issues that I raised?
We've noted the comments.
Very helpful answer, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that greatly.
We have it as an agenda item, so we'll discuss it fully.
Yeah. The issue, because I said we can't ask questions then, so the question I've got, I've raised a whole number of points about the procedure, how it all worked, how the items linked together. So you made a point about was in Bloom, you said in Bloom wasn't mentioned, in Bloom is in here. Question about the red phone box.
Sorry.
What's with the phone box, Mark? Because there seems to be a thing, come to think about this phone box. Why would a red phone box be of any relevance when we've got a phone box?
Well, some people, I for one of those people. I don't like the old phone, the new phone box. I think a red one would be much nicer. And there's a group of people willing to fund a red one. That's one of the items on there. And is the parish council against it? It was said to me by other people that the parish council were against the red phone box. So hence the direct question. Again, I appreciate you can't answer it. You don't answer it now. But other comments within the parish plan. You know, my question is, the parish council doesn't need to accept everything. I think Councillor Tempest made a very good point. I think if you haven't answered any questions about my email, there's probably no point asking me any more questions on it, and I'll wait till that discussion point. But I am here during the discussion if you want to do anything about how we did that and why we did that. It wasn't just a case of linking A and B. There's a whole route of via CDs and E's that we got there. And if we had the separate meeting I could have gone to, I'd have brought all the notes. That we've got reams and reams of paper about how all those decisions were made and the process which we got there, rather than just looking at the output of the whole process. Which again, my office is still there to have a separate meeting if the parish council so wishes it.
It seems that the two items have been swapped around. So there's a series of steps that you have to go through, stages, and stage 3 and stage 4 have been swapped around in the process. So stage 3 is, I haven't got the thing in front, well, I could find it, but don't want to spend too long finding it. Stage 3 is that before it gets to draft plan and the final draft of it, it comes to the parish council. It isn't brought to the parish council as a draft plan ready to go out to the public because the parish council have to sign it off. So we've missed that very, very important stage and we're doing it reverse way around. And that's the problem with it. So in effect, you brought us a signed plan, and as Mr. Barrett, Phil Barrett, said the other day at this parish council meeting, he said, if the PC have decided they don't want to feature red telephone boxes in the plan, you are going to have to set up and start the whole process again, because this document, by the sounds of it, hasn't been adopted by the PC, and you're going to have to give some consideration to how and what process you will undertake to do it and amend it. But if that plan had been brought to the parish council before it was finalised, as the government guidance says, we wouldn't be in this position. So we've had to form this steering group, which is what Sam suggested, and that's where we're going to discuss it today.
It was brought to parish council in draft format, and it's in the minutes of the parish council of having been done so. That's where I expect to disagree that the minutes did have it come into the parish council as a draft. It still is in its draft format, but I think it's semantics how you're saying it was brought to. It was brought to in a draft format, albeit to look pretty, but it's almost, whether we give it a basic Word document or in the format it's in, it's semantics. The plan was given to the council draft. There were 16 separate items, agenda items for the parish plan. It was with the parish council throughout the whole of the process. The parish council had been involved or was involved with the process. I don't think that was quite accurate, and this is where you were completely right, Simon, about you don't have to accept it word for word as it is. There's enough flexibility within the parish plan that you take each item on its own merit. So if you don't want a red phone box, you don't have to support that. You can be against parts of the plan as a parish council. There are items in the parish council that have nothing to do with the parish council, which are entirely community-led. Of the parish plan, 12 items have already been delivered outside of the parish plan, so things are already happening. I do hope my wish is that Parish Council, similar to the proposal we made on the last meeting, to adopt it with those formats. I think that would be the best item. But I do have a separate list of all the times it was raised at the Parish Council, so I don't agree with the ordering. We did it as per the plan, but the guidance is that. It's old guidance, and it's guidance, and there's no standard format. The guidance you quote doesn't say, thou shalt do it in exactly this format. It's a guidance that this is a way of doing it, and often plans have been done. There's countless examples of parish plans done in different ways, and we've had dozens of them when we do the parish plan. So it isn't a case of you must follow guidance. This is not a procedure, it is guidance. And I think there's enough flexibility, and we did that within the notes, and it was fed back to council how that was done. So the parish council doesn't have to adopt it word for word. It understands that, the parish plan understands and says as much that you can, as a parish council, review and adopt it, and there's a procedure in there. If you want to start another group, it's not difficult to do. So it's not sort of all or nothing word for word. This is our general overarching aim, and when you adopt this parish council, you can say, we like it, we understand it, but we don't agree with everything, but we support the plan as a whole.
And that's not what Councillor Barrett, Phil Barrett said, ex-Councillor Barrett. He said you either accept the plan as it is, word for word, with the red telephone box, in which I don't know why everyone's getting hung up on that red telephone box, or it is thrown out. And you'll have to work out if you're going to do it. But I mean, I went through the government guidance, and the first thing it says is on page 4, you are advised to seek help and advice from your local rural community councillor, the communities officer, which we would have liked to have seen done. The parish plan must be consistent with related policies set out in local authorities' planning documents, which doesn't relate to any of the planning documents. They should complete and help deliver local planning policies and frameworks, but they cannot override adopted planning policy. So I can go through the whole thing just as you did with yours.
But we agree on that matter. It's not seeking to override. It doesn't override anything. It seeks to inform and be a part of, not override. And that was specifically within the task and finish group in terms of reference. And it says so within the parish plan. It's not overriding. For example, when it comes up to planning, the parish council would like to advise that we don't like this, it's not in our village. It's not overriding policy, it's supporting policy. And it helps those other agencies to say, oh, the parish plan supports this, even though it may be contrary to what they're saying in the plan. It doesn't go to the neighbourhood plan of the wider areas, because you told us not to, and it's in the terms of reference not to do that, because before you know it, that's into the realms of neighbourhood plan, which we're not looking at in the parish plan rather than neighbourhood. So it was a very sort of narrow terms of reference, specifically for the parish. And that was with traffic, and you told us to look at parking as an example. So Environment Agency, we didn't go to the Environment Agency because, again, it wasn't within the scope of the remit, but it can hopefully support the Environment Agency that, a task and finish working for the BEC, similar to the flooding group that the parish council set up. It supports work you've already done, not replacing and saying that will do it. So with what Phil said, I wouldn't agree that it's a all or nothing, it's word for word. The parish plan is deliberately flexible to allow the parish council, as circumstances change, to be flexible with what they're doing. The overall theme is we want a nice village, we want it to look nice.
I think we all want that, Mark. Okay, any more questions?
It's just a quick one. Is this the only opportunity to speak at this question bit, or does this count as the public participation?
This is public participation. We will ask you to
No,
give a presentation
Thank you.
very, very shortly.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so with the public questions finished, now we'll give the public an opportunity to speak after we've had questions to the highways. So there will be another opportunity. So let's start the formal part of the meeting. So we're going to start with, as I said, any apologies for absence, which there are because we're all here. And then the next item 321, is to receive written applications for the office of parish councillor and to co-opt candidates to fill existing vacancies. So, Jenny, we've just got, there was an ambiguity about whether we'd have, how many candidates we'd have.
We thought we might have 2, but the other candidate hasn't resided in the village, in the parish, for the minimum amount of time to make them eligible. You've got to be in the parish for 12 months, so for that reason they're not eligible until
Okay, so that was the first question I was going to ask you, Jenny. Can you confirm that the candidate is eligible in accordance with the Local Government Act 1972, section 79, and not qualified from being a councillor by virtue of section 80?
Confirmed.
That's fine. So I think we're going to invite Ismail to, would you like to speak to the parish
Yeah,
council?
that's all right.
Yeah.
I stand because the people behind my back, apologies for that. It's just to say, my name is Ismail Ahmed, and I am. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to be honest and upfront about my reason for wanting to stand at the parish council. If I'm successful in the selection process, I will be looking to stand as the Conservative candidate for the Thorntondale and Wolves division in next year's elections. The reason why I want to be a parish councillor is if I'm asking people of Thorntondale to put their trust in me in next year's elections, I need to get to know them better and I need to get them to get to know me better. It is also an opportunity to get to know the individuals, businesses and stakeholders in the village. I know that Thorntondale is a village with a proud history and a strong community that wants to do right by its village. And that is my reason for wanting to stand as a parish councillor in Thorntondale. Now, you're probably wondering, why I want to stand as a parish councillor, probably what do you get in return. I'm someone who's got 20 years of dedicated public service. I am currently working as a parish councillor as well. I've sat on all the committees. I chair committees. I've been deputy mayor, and I have supported both community and the council in activities in and out. The big overarching question will always be, if you want to do this, how will you have time to do this as well, along with everything else that I'm doing? Is obviously, if it's something important, you make the time, and obviously this is important to me. If I want to be the candidate and if I want to represent the division, so I make the time for it. And the last caveat I will say is, after many years of scouting, David has managed to convince me to join the Rydell Lions. So again, that's something further putting myself in the community, in the wider community, not only just where I am.
Thank you. Does anybody want to ask questions?
You actually live in Pickering then? do you?
I do indeed, yes.
Right. And that's within the, you've checked.
In terms of the division as a whole, I've got, my wife works at Rillington Primary School, so we get many trips to Rillington Primary School. Myself, every Friday I come down with a 6-month-old to the toddlers group in the village hall, and obviously we make various and lots of trips to Thorntondale.
Does anybody want to discuss this, anything further about it, or are you happy to go to a vote in public now? Otherwise we'd have to close the meeting. So, do I have a proposer?
I'd like to propose.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Can we all take a vote on that, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You just sign that.
Sign your life away. You like me, you haven't got a pen.
I've got several.
Obviously. This is, thank you.
John Salzman.
Always happy to provide a sample.
It's a big pen, that probably makes a lot of sense. Shall I let you fill in the little blank bit there? Thank you. That's good.
Sign your life away.
And there's your pen. It's a very good pen.
And stay down that because Janet will probably need it to sign this.
So, item 323, receive declarations of interest in items on the agenda. I declare my normal interest in that I'm a North Yorkshire County councillor and I belong to a sub on the Mayoral Combined Authority. Anybody else? No? Okay, so confirm and sign the minutes, or would you have kept the pen? Welcome, it's easy. Just the first page, is it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
That's quick. So where are we now? To receive a presentation from North Yorkshire Highways. So can I welcome Deborah Flowers, and thank you for coming this evening. I think all of us have got various issues with highways, and it can be quite complicated to anyone that hasn't seen how it works in action. And are you still doing the meetings with the parish councils,
Yes.
the workshops?
Yes.
They're excellent. So if any of you get a chance to go, they really are worthwhile. So, Deb, do you want to sit down here? Should we bring a chair over here and then you can all see there?
I don't want to sit them back to you, shall I?
No, you're fine. Sit alongside each other.
Thank you all for inviting me here this evening. I am new to the Area 4 office, but I've been doing this job for 15 years now. I've previously covered the Harrogate area, the Skipton area, Thirsk area and Richmond area, and I now cover Kirkby, Musselburgh, Area 4 and Area 5 again. So I know quite a big chunk of the county, but I'm still getting to know this part of the area. So everybody has thoughts and opinions on the highway, because unlike many services that the council deliver, everybody uses the highway in some way, shape or form. So we all have a perspective and an opinion, and we absolutely respect that opinion. So there's 7 area officers across the county who manage the 5,500 miles of public highway that we have to maintain, and 10,000 miles of footpath that we maintain. That's not the footpath, the public rights of way. As you know, they're managed for you by the national parks, but in other areas it's our public rights of way team. We maintain the likes of the footpath and alongside the carriageways and things like that. So we do that to standards set out in the Highway Safety Inspection Manual, which means we have set criteria and intervention levels and things. Not a popular word, I completely understand that. Unfortunately, our budgets are ever decreasing because costs are ever rising. We are fortunate that we have 2 pots of money, if you like, every year. We have our basic maintenance budget, which every area office works to, and that is a revenue budget. So in this area, it's 1.26 million a year, and that has to maintain 921 miles of road. And that is everything from cleaning the gullies to fixing the potholes to maintaining the footpaths, cutting the grass, dealing with emergencies. So you can imagine that money actually does not go very far. It does not include winter. Winter maintenance is a separate budget. The county has a county-wide budget of 80 million annually for winter. But that is the only service that we deliver that is demand-driven and not resource-driven. So if we got an exceptionally bad winter, and I'm sure we can all remember a few of those, we wouldn't reach the 80 million and say, right, that's it, we need to park up now, we're done. We'd just keep on going. And then what you'd find is we have years where we haven't spent that money, and you get that rollover, so we can sort of balance the books in that way. This office has 5.5, I'll explain the half, 5.5 members of staff. We have recently transferred our highway officers who do the inspections, the routine inspections, over to North Yorkshire Highways, which is our partner contractor. So we have 4 highway officers who, although they don't work for NYC anymore, they continue to do the same role that they were doing before. They're just not as part of our establishment in area office. We also have, and this is where the 0.5 comes in, we have a shared maintenance manager whose role is to manage the highway officers and the basic maintenance budget within the area office. So some of you may have known John Dickens, who was the long-term maintenance manager. He has transferred over to North Yorkshire Highways with his highway officers. And we have Mike Aitchinson, who is a very experienced maintenance manager from Area 3 Whitby, who is managing 3 area offices across the role of, so the idea behind it is you've got a check and a counter check. So you've got the highway officers raising works orders, for example, that North Yorkshire Highways are then going to deliver, but you've got a maintenance manager on that side checking that the orders are all as they should be, and you've got a maintenance manager on the NYC side checking that everything is as it should be. So it's very new, it happened on the 1st of July. We're all getting used to the change. They're still based in the office. It's very strange. They're all still there, but they're just not there. So it's a learning curve for all of us. It seems to be working really well so far. There's some logistical issues around communication because they can't access our systems anymore. But you know, we're getting there. You're very fortunate in this area. You've got 4 excellent highway officers who really care about the patch that they cover. I've worked with a lot of highway officers in my time, and some are not, shall we say, as dedicated as the ones that you're fortunate to have here. So we do routine cyclic inspections. So every road is inspected, and that would depend on its hierarchy. So that's the classification of the road. So if it's a strategic road like the A170, for example, it would be inspected on a monthly basis. That's the highest level that we do. If it's a more rural road or an estate road, it's likely to be an annual inspection. And then the other thing we do is a 3-month inspections for the sort of the B roads, the sort of happy medium, if you like. As I've said, we've got 4 highway officers to cover 921 miles of network. That means that there will be things that we don't see, and we very much rely on people telling us that these problems exist. And although across the county we receive in excess of 60,000 customer service reports a year, which is they're asking for reactive responses, we still suffer from huge underreporting. So the most common problem that we have is that, and I've seen it in my own town, you'll see, and everybody walks past something every day, and you all talk to each other and say, that's disgraceful, we still haven't done anything about it. But the reality is we don't know about it. And we may not be here for another 6 months because it's an annual inspection. So we'd rather get reports twice than not get them at all. Most recently, we find a lot of these things find their way to social media, and actually that's how we find out about them. Even things as significant as a bridge closed because of flooding, people don't tell us, they just take to social media to say, well, they've not done anything about this bridge, it's closed. So my plea to all of you today is to please reach out to us if you are concerned about anything on the highway, whether that's be grass cutting or anything else, grass cutting particularly relevant right now. Please reach out to us. The best way to do that is via our online system. And the reason for that is manifold, but mainly because it goes direct from you to the highway officer. If he's there, if he's in that area, he can respond straight away. If not, he can react very quickly. You will then get a direct update from that officer once he's done that inspection. So he will add comments to that case as to what he's done with that report that you made. And that is quicker than calling it in or emailing us, because it gets quite clunky then. What I would say is please don't ever report anything you consider to be dangerous via the online system, because there's no mechanism internally that flags that up as dangerous. So we've got a system in place. We ask anybody who wants to report anything dangerous to call our customer service centre. They call it through to us. So whichever duty agent, duty officer, they can react to that and deal with it in real time. It won't come as a surprise to people in the room that the word dangerous is the most overused word in the English language when it comes to highways. And, you know, rightly or wrongly, people feel if they use that word, it will generate a faster response. The reality is it will, but it risks taking somebody away from something that they really should be dealing with. And when the officers get there and they find a puddle instead of a flood, they can get a little bit, a bit frustrated by that. So, it's not that we don't want you to report it, because we absolutely do. So please report it, but if you are concerned it's dangerous, then please call it through. It's the best way to do it. We've got mechanisms in place to make sure it gets to people straight away. Apologies for my notes, I am still learning this area. So we've got a system called Carbon Tech, which manages our drainage systems. So this Carbon Tech came into effect about 4 years ago, and prior to it coming into effect, they did a survey of all the drainage right across the network, and they measured things like silt levels, and then they factored in things like flooding history, age of the asset, etc. And then the system generates this program that says, right, well, this gully will need cleaned every month because it's in a high risk flood area and it causes us a problem because of X and Y, but this one may not need cleaned for 2 years, for a period of 2 years. Prior to that, every gully was cleaned once a year, every year. For some that wasn't enough, for some it was way too much. We are very fortunate in Area 4 in that the Carbon Tech programme is always on track, And not only is it on track, but we're able to support other highway areas to keep on top of theirs because our programme is where it needs to be. Another change that came into effect on the 1st of July is we now have responsibility for managing the road sweepers. So what never made sense to me when I first came into this role was highways maintain roads, but we didn't have any control over the road sweepers. That was dealt with by the district or the borough council. So if we needed a GOR report sweeping, we'd have to log it through to them. And I never liked the whole it's not us, it's them, or it's not them, it's us situation between us and district councils. I felt that was very clunky and very poor journey for any customer. So we took them on the 1st of July. And the plan is that it will be managed by the Carbon Tech programme, the same as the Gully programme. The desire is that where we're doing things like big drainage cleans and things, the sweeper will go along behind it and make sure that we're not leaving any mess, because sometimes the operatives can be maybe just a little bit less attentive than we would like them to be, so the sweeper will follow them through. We've only taken on responsibility for carriageway sweeping, not footway sweeping, so footway sweeping will still go to what is now the locality team, the Waste and Street Scene team, but they've got the little sweepers and things. Well, we don't need them because if we did have an issue with the footpath, we could deploy them through North Yorkshire Highways. So they will keep them, we're doing the roads. That is a whistle-stop tour across highways. And I don't want to keep talking to you all night, so please, if I don't know what your rules are, if you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to take them, but please be kind, because I don't know Area 4 as well as I could do yet.
I'm sure you'll catch up.
Oh, I will.
One thing I'd like clarifying is you saying, you report in if you see something, but does it happen quicker if you get 10 people reporting rather than 2? So we don't get any more attention if you get a watch of people.
Absolutely not. In fact, that can have an impact on the highway officer's tablet if he's out on site. It may prevent other cases coming through. What would frustrate you is that every single one of those will get the same response. So whatever the response is to that particular report, so every single person would get the same response. It just takes officer time to deal with 10 cases instead of dealing with 1. So it doesn't jump the queue. If it's urgent, it will jump the queue, and it should be jumping the queue. But otherwise, and it happens, when I was in Skipton, we had somebody report, we had Skipton Building Society must have driven into work that day, and they'd all hit this pothole on the way into work, and 47 of them reported a pothole within 40 minutes. So whilst I'm trying to calm the highway officer down, his device was going ping, 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 ping. And he went out and discovered that actually it was within the curtilage of their property and it wasn't in the highway anyway. But he still had to update all of those cases to let people know what the response was to the case. So it doesn't make us think that it's more serious. They will come through and we will deal with them, but they're all going to be dealt with in the same way, and it actually slows the system down if multiple reports come through at the same time.
Deborah, having dealt with highway guys, Janet and I spent a lot of time through our flood group. I was chairman of the flood group covering several parishes, and John Dix is absolutely superb on team.
So is Robbie, but they all are. They're all really great.
So attentive. So I can't speak highly enough of your staff. They get a lot of stick from people, but we've had dealings with them, haven't we, John?
And not just in Thornton, we've done it in Weaverthorpe, in Luttons, in all those communities. Where the communities will work with those guys, they will move heaven and earth.
They will, so they're excellent.
There were 2 very pleasant gentlemen pushing the car in the side of the road up Chestnut Avenue today.
Oh,
that
was
brilliant.
That's good. So we switched from a private contractor 3 years ago now. So we used to have Ringway, they were a private contractor. So now we've got a Teckle company. A Teckle company is owned by the authority but not run or managed by the authority, and they're not allowed to make a profit. The differences that we've seen in the 3 years, and we get much better value for money now, so instead of being able to do a patch that big, we can now do a patch the size of this room, for example, because we get better rates because it's a Teckle company. They're also available to do private work, so they have worked for parish councils in the past. You know, they'll do things like drainage schemes and things for you. So they are building a reputation for themselves within the community. And I think because they're not an external contractor who came from Durham or Newcastle or wherever, you know, they're local, they live local, they have pride in the locality. I've seen a big difference. I'm very pleased to hear that. Thank you.
I'm extremely pleased because with my North Yorkshire hat on, we made that decision those 3 years ago. It was a really brave decision to make because, you know, are we going to have to contract in, you know, or what? But it really was the best thing to do, and I think it proves in the pudding. But it was a brave decision and it's paid off. And we have other tech-up companies, but for the legal system and for, you know,
we have a line
housing
like
and all the rest of it. Some of them are better than others, but
some are better than others.
yeah. So any more questions from members? Isabel?
It's just two quick ones. In terms of reporting, there isn't a mechanism in place whereby, for example, if myself and Janet reported it, it then stops, as in it says you've got 2 reports, no more. So otherwise, like you said, if multiple people start reporting it, then you get that backlog and that delays it. So is there anywhere in place where if you get 2 or 3 reports about the same thing, then it just basically stops people from reporting anymore because you know you've got...
The short answer to that is yes and no. So the answer to that, if it's a fixed asset like a street light, is yes. So because you can plot those, but believe it or not, we don't know where all the potholes are. So we can't put them on a map and say pin that one. We can't do that with things like highway defects because the risk is that it could be a different one. It could be, it's close to it, but actually it needs to be attended to as well. So I've always resisted doing that because of the risks of not getting something. If we don't get something, we don't see it, we don't repair it, you know, worst case scenario, we're talking about a fatality on the network and we want to be able to avoid that. So we've got a new online system launching, supposed to go live today. It was pulled at 4:45 tonight, which I'm not going to lie, I'm hugely relieved about. So we did the live testing this afternoon and I felt I was growing older by the minute. So it's now due to go live on the 15th. Now, in that, parishes will see an improvement in that you'll now be able to report a bridge and traffic signals, traffic lights as well. The benefit of that is they're a fixed asset. We can lock them down, so they can't be reported more than once. Could you imagine if we had a traffic light in a busy junction in Harrogate, how many people would drive through it and report it because I think nobody else had and cause carnage. But so they will, the bridges form in particular I'm quite pleased with because if you hover over the pin on the map which tells the bridge, it will tell you who owns the bridge. So it will tell you whether it's ourselves, National Parks, Network Rail. If it's ourselves, you can follow through and report it. If it's not ourselves, it'll give you the information of who to report it to. And that's been quite difficult to do because we have thousands of bridges and believe it or not, we are still finding bridges that are the responsibility of the council. Generally, only when they fall down. And then everybody searches historic documents and we find out that actually it's the responsibility of NYC. If you ever do meet the bridges manager, please don't start him on that tough topic because you'll be there a long time. But yes, so it's going live on the 15th of July. We sent the information out to parishes today. I always, when I meet with parishes, encourage them to add a link to our report it page onto your website because I feel that parishes should be the point of escalation with me and my team and not the point of reporting. And it's better for the community if they have access to that themselves quite easily without having to look it up on a website. I'm not the biggest fan of the NYC website because I think it's very cluttered, it's very busy, and it's very difficult to navigate. It was a marriage when LGR happened and nobody's really had the time to review it in any great detail. The good news is they are looking at it now. So hopefully it'll become more intuitive and easier to navigate. But the best way to do it is if you can access your parish website and just click on the link, it'll take you into that and you can do it that way. You can choose to do it anonymously, but if you do it anonymously, we can't come back to you and tell you what your update is. So you only need to record 2 pieces of information, just your name and either your phone number or your email address. It's not intrusive at all, and it's just so that we can come back to you if. So we often get reports, even though they'll plot a pin on the map, and the description is, it's near where old Tom used to live. He died 10 years ago, but it's where Tom used to live. And our highway officer doesn't know where that is. And if we don't have any contact details, we can't call somebody and just say, can you just clarify where Tom used to live? I think the funniest one I've had is somebody who said there's some cows in the field. Well, there wasn't any cows in the field when we went out. But yeah, which field as well. But so yeah, we do get some ambiguous reports, and we do get some funny ones. I had somebody once who used to measure potholes with wine bottles, full ones, or City's terrier in them, and take the photographs of his terrier. I was always petrified the dog was going to get hit by a car. But you know, we still got them, and that's the important thing.
Is it okay to make a comment?
Just, are there more members that want to ask a question?
It was more a case of, so with this going, is it live on the 15th of?
Yes.
Will there be a push on social media and such things just to let the members of the public know about the portal and so on and so forth?
Yes, that's all in hand, and they've put banners and things on the website, which we've had to pull at verylastminute.com this evening to stop them going out to say this is now live. It exists in a format now, it's just been switched over to a better system. So we'll have increased number of forms that come straight through to service instead of a previous journey that just went into an email to CSC, which meant we couldn't communicate backwards to the customer. So these will improve that dramatically. And we've done the comms with Parish Council tonight. Apologies if you got it, and then they tried to recall it because it was literally within 3 minutes, the decision that we're not going live. So we've sent out a further email to say, please ignore the initial email. It's now going to be the 15th of July.
Derek.
Yeah, thanks for coming on first of all. Just a comment. I've given up reporting.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Because it's one a month on the road that I live on. So it's just pointless. We've filled potholes. We've now got speed bumps, which slows the traffic down great. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
Can I just come in there actually, because Derek, we did look at that, didn't we? And we think there's been a problem. This is the one that I actually contacted you about, and we think we did look at it together, and we think that your reports haven't got through because there were only 2 for that area. One was
not you. It wasn't yourself.
So we think there's been a problem, an issue with that actually getting through. So if you can.
If you ever have problems with the system, or you're getting frustrated because you feel you're getting nowhere, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. The reality is that a lot of what we tell you is that we can't do anything about it because it currently doesn't meet that criteria, or whatever that decision is. That's out of our hands. The Highway Safety Inspection Manual is a public document. It's on the website, and I would encourage you to read it if you can. It's quite easy to read. But a previous document before that was the Highway Maintenance Plan. It was better than War and Peace to get you to sleep, but this one is very easy to read and understand. So it's, if you have a problem where you're frustrated with the reports, that's where my role comes in.
My reports seem to go through on the system.
Right.
But
when
you keep getting potholes filled, you know, a month, 2 months later, one appears 1 metre up the road, and you do the same again. It's just fruitless.
Obviously, I'm really sorry you feel like that.
And we're on top of that now.
Yeah,
we've got it logged, and as I said, there is going to be some work there. Do we have any work? Go on, yes, Mark.
Yeah, the 1.26 million, that's less than £500 per mile per year, so it's nothing. And I used to be a highway engineer, I used to be a tarmac expert, no longer am. And yeah, terriers, I've got a whole lot of things that people use to do it, so we're not supposed to be fit for them. So I appreciate the challenges. One of my big issues is pothole repairs. And there's a pothole down the lane, chap came to fix it, and I looked at it and thought, that's going to last 25 minutes. It was one of the worst pothole repairs I've ever seen. They slap the stuff in, they tamp it down and go off. No cleaning, no saw cutting, no overbanding, not even the right stuff. It was cold, not hot. It was terrible. One of the worst pothole jobs I've ever seen done. You're reporting on the number of potholes being fixed, so it's not within your own system. You're not going to win by doing it properly, because it means you'll only do a quarter of half the number of potholes you would otherwise. The problem is that potholes reappeared 2 or 3 times since. But it's into Derek in terms of when it's not done properly, it won't last. Is it worth looking at how you're reporting potholes and targets? If you're so rather than have a target of
We don't. We don't.
But
We
within-
don't report how many were filled. We don't. We don't record them in that manner. So there's different types of pothole repair. The type you're describing to me is the temporary type that a highway officer would do with a pot of material that he carries in his van, and that's literally a make safe. Now they do that for a number of reasons, because sometimes they're generally followed by a more permanent repair. We don't overband. It's not process for us. It's not something we do. We're looking at different options to do that, but at this point in time, it's not something we do for standard.
Is the reason we don't overbank? That's one of the main reasons of pothole failure.
There was a fatal a few years ago, and it was a motorbike who hit the parallel lane and came off the bike, and so it was stopped at that point.
So overbanking, overbanking is when you put it's the hot bitumen that seals the two.
Yeah, the seals leave the shiny surface, and it was deemed unsafe, so we stopped. But we are looking at other options now. As I say, we get a much better service with NYH now. The other reason that highway officers will do these repeated temporary repairs is that that road is on a list for some proactive maintenance, some planned maintenance. So without checking, because I don't have access to that system now, it's likely that that road is due for a scheme to be done on it. So there's very little point in carrying out more extensive pothole repairs or patching works, because it's going to be skimmed, it's going to be taken off anyway. So I'd need to check that. But again, if you're having these issues with the quality of repairs, if it is being done by a contractor, then they have a warranty period. And if they fail in that warranty period, or they fail the quality inspection when somebody makes us aware of them, then they have to come back, and it's carried out at their cost. So it's a lesson learned for them, as well as it's a win for us, because we know that we're getting that quality consistently. But it sounds to me like the repair that you're talking about is the sort of make safe repair that a highway officer does. Quite why he's done it more than once in this area. I would reiterate that you've got some excellent highway officers, so there must be a very good reason why they've done it.
I think what it does is it didn't even sweep the hole out of the dirt.
No, they don't. They don't need to, because the material pushes it out.
It's
Okay, we disagree. We disagree, but generally they don't. Some do, some don't, but they don't have to, because the material that they use is supposed to do that. Displace it.
Right, I'm going to wrap this up now, because we've got a big agenda,
Yes.
and we've got a lot to get
Thank
through.
you, thank you.
But actually, I think that's been really, really important. I think it's been really enlightening, and thank you for coming. And you are welcome to stay, but I'm sure you want to.
No, I live only 2 hours away, so I
Yes, I
don't.
know.
But what I would say is, please don't suffer in silence. If at any point you're getting frustrated, or you just think, what is the point, then please reach out to me. You can contact me at any point via the Area 4 Highways office. I'm sure that Janet will provide that email if you need it, but please just talk to me. And I will get to know you all gradually, I'm sure I will. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you.
item 326, to receive and consider both task and finish and adoption of the parish plan documents. So, as we said at the beginning, the steering group did meet to discuss the plan, and I'm going to ask John to speak on this.
Summarise it.
Because I think, well, it was quite a good discussion, really, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We had some very positive to and fro's. First of all, I would like to thank the working group that's the task and finish group, call it what you will. We very much appreciate the time and effort that they expended on composing the parish plan. We would also very much like to thank the members of the public that completed the questionnaires, which were extensive and very informative. We, very much like Mark said, we find that there are areas of the parish plan which are extremely commendable. Some we struggled with the summaries and the evidence that backed up some of the statements. But by and large, we would very much like to thank everybody that involved it, and it's a very complete and informative document. In fact, looking at the areas suggested for action, we have completed a significant number, either through the auspices of the parish council or through volunteers within the village. We accept very much the key findings and the key concerns that were identified within the 6 categories of the parish plan, and we felt that the parish council can produce an action plan based on the identified areas within the key findings and the key concerns, particularly those that fall within the parish council's area of responsibility. The parish council will give consideration to other actions put forward in the key findings and key concerns that are the responsibility of other authorities and voluntary groups, such as the Environment Agency and Highways that we've just heard from, and will support those actions where it's appropriate to do so. So we're very happy to take that forward. So that is pretty much what I would like to put forward to the council as a proposal. That we acknowledge the work of the steering group, and we will produce an action plan based on the identified areas within the key findings and the key concerns. And we will use the parish plan as information to inform other authorities when the opportunity arises or issues arise that will benefit from the findings. So that's very much a summary of what we said, and I would like to put that forward as a proposal.
Sam, do you want to add to that, because you were at the steering group as well, weren't you?
I was indeed, and no, I think John's done very well in summarising what we discussed, and I'm very, very happy to support that and indeed second the proposal.
Does anybody else want to ask any questions on this? Are we happy? So we're taking forward the key concerns and the key findings, and then we'll do a task and finish group based on the rest of the document. Are we all happy with that? We've got a proposer and a seconder. Can we take a vote, please? Any abstentions? Thank you. I understand why you want to abstain. Okay, so happy with that. So where am I now? Still lost. Right.
327.
327, thank you very much. Right, 327, to receive and consider updates for the bridge maintenance. So Jenny, can I just hand over to you here at this point?
Yeah, sure. Met with Matt today, so we went through his work that he's done in June, so it's mainly litter picking, some trimming under hedges at the cemetery, inside and outside of the cemetery. There's also a section between the cemetery and the allotments where it's almost like a bit of a dumping ground of, just green waste. So that's all being tidied and streamed around there as well. I showed him with the gate today, so he's on the case. He's doing that. He's trimmed the overhanging shrubbery on Beck Isle. And just general maintenance in other areas.
On Beck Isle, there are quite a few alder trees that are growing out of the wall. But ideally, I don't know, David, what would you do with them? They will pull the wall down eventually, because they were little seedlings, and now they're actually probably 1 inch, 2 inch thick trees growing out of them, and I think they'll pull the wall down if those roots take hold.
And who's the responsibility of that? Is that us or the chap over the other side of the wall?
Well, these are on the wall, on the
side.
on the common land side. Yeah. So I don't know who's responsible for Beck Isle. We do. Is it National Parks or is it us? Who's responsible for the common land?
It should be the council then. Parish Council.
Parish Council. Yeah.
We cut the grass there, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And Matt does do some maintenance there. We've asked him to do maintenance there before, so
I've actually, if the small ones I think could do with coming out, but actually I've got a live open ticket with the Environment Agency at the moment for doing some work. You remember we said about moving those boulders over?
Yeah.
So I actually wrote to them about the moving the boulders over and various aspects of the parish plan, and they have contacted me. Unfortunately, I was on holiday and it's just been set back a bit, but I'm on with it.
Okay.
So the trees there, I think, will need to come out eventually, but we maybe need to do it with the Environment Agency.
Okay, so there's nothing to pass to Mark at the minute regarding those trees on Back High?
There is an issue coming down from the All Saints Church down towards the bridge. There's a hedge on, I think it's always
yes.
yeah.
No,
it's coming
It's
out,
always-
and there's braes hanging into the road. It could have someone
Yeah.
die out. It's a disgrace, really. I don't think that's our responsibility. It isn't our
No,
responsibility.
it isn't.
Mark's,
It's always hedge.
Mark's mentioned it before, but he said it should really be the owner of.
But I think we
So
ought to write to
Who's it?
Thornton Estate.
Oh, is it?
I would
Should-
write to
Oh.
highways.
Yes, what I was going to say is write to highways and say, could they ask the landowner to trim the hedges because it's becoming a nuisance on the footpath. And what will happen is if they don't, and after they've written several times, highways will do it and recharge them.
It's sticking out about a metre into
It
the
is,
road
it's
now.
terrible.
It's disgrace.
Okay,
It's
okay.
a disgrace.
A couple of photographs to send them to
Oh,
me,
yeah.
because I can upload those
Yeah.
as well. That'll help. Okay. Churchyard wall, so I showed him the 2 areas that need pointing, so that's going to get done this month, because he just needed a bit of show and tell on that. And I've written to, we received a recommendation for a civil engineer. I contacted YLCA, and it was open to parish councils to write to me, to anybody that they've used. So I've emailed Stockdale in, is it Alistair?
Alistair, yeah.
I'm still waiting for a response.
He's been in hospital seriously ill. He's just out now, but yeah.
Yeah, so haven't chased that one
Yeah,
yet, but
he's not working yet.
okay.
Yeah.
So we might need
Is there any urgency in it?
No. Well, it's something that's been going on for a while, as in over a year, and but it's taken that long for the church to come back and say, yeah, progress things.
What I'll do, Jenny, I'll see him tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then I'll just mention it to him. He's literally just out of hospital.
Okay.
So,
We'll keep it on the agenda for
Okay.
now. Village benches, so we've had some more benches painted and stained, and then we were just looking at the ones on Chestnut Avenue around the village green and the 2 outside here. So Sam's doing some more benches next week, so that's the next set of benches to be done. Most of them are going to be painted, the other one will be stained.
And those 2 are going to be left. Yeah.
And then waste bins, yeah.
Yeah, so I've had a contact with Chris Granger from Street Scene, and he says he's going to pop out and take a walk round with us because the cricket pavilion and the sports field said they wanted one in a different place to where they'd got one already, and we thought as it was the end of Walks Wood, there might be people that wanted to put dog waste in there as well. So he's going to come out and take a walk round because there's new arrangements that are going through with the waste scene anyway. So it makes sense to do that walk around.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point we've identified 5, but the question I put out there was, do we need them all the same size?
5 bins?
Yeah, we've got 5 bins, 5 locations. That's all been logged in previous minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
But I just need to understand, do they all want to be the same size? Because there's quite a difference in price between, I can't remember the litres now, so between a 90 litre or a 50 litre. Quite a big difference in price.
Yeah.
And if we can get away with a smaller bin, then it's save hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, well, I think the ones that we've identified are sort of fairly small ones.
Just one out here.
What street? Yeah, like the one out there. So that would replace like for like, unless they come across any problems with them being overspilling or anything, which I don't think they have. And he'll say that when it comes round. Go on, sorry.
No, I said, yeah, because that was an open one.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, we don't want them open.
No, exactly. So,
And he suggested a bigger one outside the sports pavilion because he said there might be more waste there. But then when I spoke to Graham Hunt about it, he said No, he thought a small one would be adequate for the rubbish they needed. So I think we do that walkabout with him and then come back. So it is on my agenda to do it. It's just it's been like crazy at the moment.
No problem.
So that's 3 to 8 then now, isn't it? To receive updates on clerk vacancy recruitment process. John, do you want to tell us all about that?
Yes, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 expressions of interest. 7 expressions of interest, 6 responses to the expressions of interest, and 1 I sent out a pack and haven't done anything since. From that, we had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 applications. We have had a meeting of a shortlisting group. One of the applicants we decided not to take forward. One of the applicants withdrew their application. One of the applicants only applied for half of the post, so the the RFO, Responsible Financial Officer position. The other 3, or the remaining 3, we've invited to interview, and the interviews will be next Thursday, starting at 2, and then each 2 hours, so at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. The 6 o'clock interview was at the request of one of the applicants because he doesn't drive and he's currently relying on a family member to transport him and their work. The person who applied for the RFO position only, I have written to and basically sent a holding letter saying the council would ideally prefer someone local and someone to do the whole post, which the other applicants have applied for. However, should he still be interested and should we not be successful in finding somebody to fill the post, would he still be interested in the half post? And I've had a positive response to that. So we wait on the 3 applicants next Thursday.
Very good. Yeah, so we'll see what comes out of that. And we've got a fallback position if nothing happens.
Yeah.
So belt and braces, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, thanks for that, John. So.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Oh, sorry.
Do we have a venue for that yet?
Yeah, the 2 daytime interviews will be here.
Right.
The format of the interview is that the first part of the process will be an informal walk or tour of the village. I first thought we'll have an informal walk, and then I thought, what happens if the applicants have mobility problems? So it will be an informal tour of the village, pointing out the areas of parish council responsibility. And then the second part will be a sort of panel interview process. The venue for the daytime interviews, 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, are here, and the evening interview will be in the Old Grammar School because there's the show and sports meeting in here, and it's sort of their critical meeting being pre-show. So hopefully, touch wood.
And is that just going to be the employment group, or is it going to be everybody?
No, everybody.
Right.
I thought rather than intimidate the candidates by having a panel of 6 and sitting them there, I thought it would be nice that 2, maybe 1, 2, 3 members of the council accompany the candidates on the tour of the village for 2 reasons. One, making sure them round, and secondly, it's sort of an informal interview session, really, is get to know them as people, and then we'll have a feedback session, and the the questions in the panel interview will be based on the YLCA recommendations.
Well, I'm at County Hall on that day, so I'm happy to help out with the later ones, but I can't do I won't be on for 2 o'clock. So.
Okay.
Does the YLCA recommendation include a scorecard?
There is a format, sort of scorecard is a good description. Yeah, so the panel interview everybody will be asked the same questions with the opportunity to sort of extend the questions if necessary.
Rebecca, did you want to come in?
Have you booked the Old Grammar School?
I have.
Oh, well done.
And I've booked it. Yeah, so hopefully I've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, but you never know. Something will go wrong.
Well, prepare for anything. Okay, moving on, item 329, to receive and adopt new or updated council policies. Now we've got 5 policies here. Have we read them all? Are we all happy with them all? I'm just wondering,
Do you want me
Johnny.
to just point out a couple of things, just the main ones? Standing orders is just regarding the Procurement Act. It's just quoting the correct, up-to-date one. And also just to take out the reference regarding Virgin money, because obviously we don't deal with them anymore, and replace that with Skipton Building Society. So those are the summary of that one. That was the financial regs, sorry. The standing orders is just the request that you wanted
Yeah,
put in.
freedom of information.
Co-option, that's just updating, and that's the latest one recommended by YLCA. Data protection, that's based on the recommendation from the internal audit report that we have a policy and we also have a log, and both of them can be put on the website. And the last one is, because you're going through this process now, perhaps it's good to put the policy just on the website.
So are we all happy with those? Can we take them on block?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, do we have a proposer? Go on. Simon?
I'm happy to propose.
I'll second.
Very good, can we have a vote on that? Speak up. Right, okay, 330, consider new planning applications. There's just one here, isn't there? 7 in Mount Thornton down. So, have we got any new?
I hate the new
Must be
system.
better.
Sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
hate the new system. I struggle with
Oh,
it.
right, yeah.
I like the old one.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any comments on that? Just to consider, isn't it? No? Okay. Updates, which are the 3,331. No, sorry, we've done that, haven't we? Updates on the planning. Are there any updates on the planning? I don't think we've had any past, have we?
No, we just say refer to the
Right, okay.
website.
So then on to item 331, to receive and consider matters raised by the Parish Clerk, RFO.
So current bank balances, so that's from the clerk's notes. Okay, so for June, we had £11,704 and 10 pence at the end of June. That's in the Barclays community. Barclays premium, £28,557 and 2 pence. And Skipton Building Society is now at 60,100. So we've moved 20,000 over from the premium Barclays to Skipton. Okay, so that's the balances. Any questions on that? The only thing I wanted to mention is that we will need to move 10,000 from the premium into the community account. So you're okay, Finance Committee, if they need to do that? Yeah, I'll move that. Okay. Payments made and received, those are the ones that are all reported on there for June. Debits, credits. Any questions on those? You okay with them all? Yeah. And on the reverse side is, sorry it's a bit small, but that's the report from Scribe on payments awaiting authorisation. There's just a couple I'll point out. One is normally we don't have ground serve on here because they're grass cutting, but they did a little bit of extra cutting and it's an extra £70. So that's just listed on there. they're on the same invoice as the main invoice. So there's a £70 there. And the other, obviously the Cumbria clocks, they're on there. So we're looking to pay them as soon as we approve.
Did they the Pickering one? Was that internal drainage board?
Yeah, that's just the £10 one. Yeah, it's just an annual.
Yeah.
You know. And the Flintoff is the paint, these recent benches. And the only other one that probably needs a show of hands is the streetlights, because it is quite a large amount.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to move the money over, basically.
I think we've given them a run for the money, haven't we? And we owe the money, we're going to have to pay. We've made a point, so I think...
We owe the money, we're going to pay.
Yeah, I think we just have to do it, pay it. But as Jenny says, it is a large amount of money. So although this is only to receive and consider, can we take a formal vote on that? I shouldn't propose it because I'm not a councillor. So if we could have someone else to propose a second.
As finance manager, I'd like to propose to be paid.
Second.
I'll second it.
And can we have a show of hands, please?
We good, didn't they?
Yeah.
Very good, so we've made a formal decision on that. So item 332, to receive new correspondence received by the clerk and agree action required.
I'll just go back to 331 because we've missed out C and D.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So,
Cost of allotment.
Yeah.
Keep to tenant.
yeah, so we have a tenant that's not looked after their allotment. We've written to them and we've formally given notice because it is a mess. Yeah. So we've asked the caretaker to just basically tidy it up so it's presentable and ready for a new tenant, which he's done that. It's taken about 2 hours in total in terms of streaming it and streaming around the area as well. So it's whether or not the tenant concerned did sign the tenancy agreement at the time when they took the allotment on. So we are within our rights to pass on any costs. So
It's within the rules, isn't it?
the proposal was to pass on 50% of the cost, so it would be around £31.50. But it's the fact that, you know, we've obviously brought in the tenancy agreement, we've updated them, we've got tenants to sign them when previously they weren't. So it's just how you feel about that and how you want to manage the situation.
Have we got somebody else taking on that allotment? Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, they literally emailed, I sent them the tenancy agreement and they'll start this week.
Right.
So we're over the formal notice period.
My proposal is to charge them 100% of the costs. Why should we subsidise someone who hasn't looked after the allotment? And the likelihood is they're not going to pay it anyway, but we can have a go, and if it can't, they're on the off. But yeah.
And obviously we haven't received the rent for this year as well, because that's another thing we did chase. So okay, so you're proposing that?
I'll second it.
Now, do we need a show of hands from those around?
Can
That's
I
for the
just
full
ask,
amount.
was the, that's all it is, was the,
Support that.
Oh, thank you.
there was some machinery in that allotment, was it still there?
I don't know.
Like a rotavator? There was always a rotavator, but it was so overgrown when I went up, couldn't even get through the gate.
Well, it's tidy now, so we should be able to see it. So
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because I have to say, the condition of the allotments is fantastic at the moment. To be let down by one or two individuals is not great.
Well, the thing is, it's a bit like the highways. You find out about it from others that report it into. Yeah. So we're duty bound to do something about it. So okay, that's fine. Thank you. And the D is just again that will probably be on the agenda quarterly, and that's from the internal audit report. That's just to review, costs against, spend against budgets. So, and the link was sent out to everybody online. So, okay, and it's on the website for everybody to see. That's everything.
So seamlessly on to 332 then.
Yeah. So that's just basically that's closed now. So I've had formal notification. That's because the caravan that was on the bull field, that's been removed. And from North Yorkshire Council, that's now closed. Yeah. The nature group email that was received regarding the grass cutting tenders and the work that we're about to start on that. That email was circulated to council. Email received regarding the parish plan. That's been circulated to council. Village clocks, just to say that they've been serviced repaired.
Again.
And stop.
And stop.
They're not working.
It is now.
It is now.
What would we do without you, John?
Just starting some work on bringing the cemetery information, the paperwork up to date. That's all been circulated to the cemetery working group. There's a little bit more work to do on that, but the proposal is to meet up as a group and just to agree everything and then just bring that to next council meeting. And the same with the tender for the grass cutting as well. Work will start on that, if not this week, then definitely next week. Now, presumably, would that be a working group as well? Does that need to come to full council for?
Well, should we discuss that at the end when we
Yeah,
do
sure.
let's do it all together
That's
there. I
fine.
thought it was a really interesting response there
Yeah.
from Sam. It was very comprehensive.
Okay. Just on the again, that's all been submitted, and we have a request for an inspection that's taking place next week. Village enhancement scheme. John kindly offered to go to the meeting today. So could you provide a little update?
Oh
John?
yes, of course. Yeah, Village Enhancement Scheme is a scheme brought forward by Buck National Park. Since the loss of the caretaker grant, which was a revenue cost to national parks, which they could no longer sustain, the caretaker grant was given to 5 villages within the national park, and as well as being from the revenue budget, which was unsustainable, it was also thought to be a little bit unfair in that only 5 villages benefited from the money. So the Village Enhancement Scheme is hopefully going to replace that to some extent. And as the title implies, it is mainly project based, and there will be a very simple application form on the National Park website. So should a village have a project, then they can outline the scheme to the National Park, and they will then come back and discuss how that project can be taken forward. An example which they gave was Appleton-le Moor, and they have restored the village dew pond, which has been several years in the formulation and action, but it has happened this time. The projects will have to be of a capital nature. Another example that was given was the replacement of a bridge on a public footpath, which again was a capital.
That should be the landowners then.
It was deemed to be a national park or a village, right, whatever. They replaced a bridge. Depending on the type of project and the possible funding sources, national parks will look at the scheme and either fund it themselves or direct the applicants to other sources of funding and help them fill in whatever the application would be. The projects necessary have to fulfil one of the topics within the National Park Plan, which is quite extensive. I think there's about 14 or 15 different headings, which cover things like wildlife. What crossed my mind is the bat boxes, the owl boxes which we provided would have been another example of a project which could have been supported by a national park. So it's quite wide based, but the projects have to be of a capital nature, and they are on the instigation of the parish council.
And is there a limit on the capital?
No.
So I'm just thinking, you know, there's a moral problem there, isn't there? Because Appleton-le-Moor, the population of Appleton-le-Moor, and Thornton-le-Dale, the population of Thornton-le-Dale, Appleton-le-Moor have got a dew pond and we've got a duck pond. Could we have our duck pond done?
Yeah,
Well, there we go then. That would be great.
but that is actually owned by National Park.
Yeah,
So, you know,
but it still needs to be
if
done.
it needed to be done, then it could well be a joint application to who they would identify the funding sources, much as they did last time it was done. Or can you remember then? I found all sorts of freshwater mussels and interesting
Yeah.
creepy crawlies, and they had a floating dredger, didn't they?
Yeah.
the pond. So yeah, that would be one of the areas.
And maybe we should put that on the agenda item for later on, because if there's funding available, let's go for it. Let's grab some of the money that they've got, because, you know.
Well, I think the message was that they wouldn't necessarily have the money, but they would help obtain it.
Right.
So they had various avenues of funding which they could explore to help the parish or the villages or whatever tap into those sources of funding. So it isn't, we've got a big pot of capital, let's share it out. It's more long term than that. And the Appleton-le-Moor's dew pond was, I think, 5 or 6 years from initiation to completion. So
Never.
some things could be quick fix, other things would take a long time depending on the funding sources that they could identify.
But we should keep
But
it.
it's worth,
Keep it live.
yeah,
Yeah.
Within the definition of capital, what qualifies? Did they give a definition?
no.
Well, it's rather than revenue, so
Yes.
if you
You
want
get
to,
that, but then
Yeah.
what qualifies it to sit on that side of the?
well, anything that costs, presumably, that's what it normally is.
Anything you can see, basically. So
Cemetery
some
gates,
form
is
of
it?
physical
cemetery
asset.
gates.
A physical
well,
asset.
Yeah.
There's no cost criteria associated with
No, because they, again, don't have a pot of money. They would look at the project and then try and identify the sources of funding to take that, which may be National Parks funding, or it may be another agency's funding. So I wouldn't be incredibly hopeful on projects, but you know, like
Don't ask, you don't
emptying
get.
the pond, you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah, and there are, you know, the smaller the project, the more easily fulfilled it is, at least.
Like with the restoration of the Beck Isle, the common land there, where those big stones won, they might be able to work with the Environment Agency, that's another one, but we can discuss it. We'll put it down as an agenda item,
Yeah,
and we can all get our thinking caps on.
yeah, and the scheme hasn't gone live yet.
Right, so, yeah, and we might get match funding from other places, so.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Next, what are we at? Internal auditor.
Yeah, this was about the only other recommendation, which is around the files backup, council files backup, so it's mainly to do with the laptop and having the backup beyond the 90 days. So Phil at Advantage Web Design is looking into this for us, and he's trying to come up with the most, cost-effective solution that fits our requirements. So he's ongoing with that, so probably bring it back to the next agenda.
Well, given the issues that we had when we lost all the data and everything, I think it's a very important issue, and one that could save us money and an awful lot of headache and expense. So I think that's a good thing to pursue.
And finally, it's the village hall and
Simon.
Simon to mention.
So, I guess since the annual meeting, which took place in May, where these are my words, that there was a general sense of disquiet, I think, that was recognised because there wasn't any progress being made. The trustee group have been urged to really make some progress, to get something seen. In that, or from that perspective, in particular relation to the refurb plan, there's been an alternative proposal put forward. You recall that the current, or the working proposal at the annual general meeting was somewhere north of £1 million and included all sorts of things. There is an alternative proposal being considered, being fleshed out actually as we speak, that would focus on making the current village hall fit for purpose. Again, my words, I'm not sure that the trustee group would necessarily use those words, but that falls into three brackets really. Fixing the exterior of the building, including the new entrance that facilitates disability access. That would also require some doorways at the back of the hall, either one furthest away from the A170 widening to make that something that was worthwhile doing. So disability access and then fixing the exterior, things like the chimneys, for example, also saplings. Well, they're not saplings, actually fully grown trees growing out of them. So the second one would be fixing the electrics. It hasn't been rewired in best part, well it has actually, it's been added to, sort of bodged along really, and it really wants a proper rewiring job doing to it. And then the third one is fixing toilets and storage. So those three things. Interestingly, that's at a much lower price. Those can themselves be parcelled into sub-projects. And something that the trustee group would be looking for some money for as well, so it's the reason for asking some of those questions. They've also asked, by the way, about the grant scheme that we have, so which I've given some information back into and pointed them at the link on the website.
Yeah, I was a bit worried when I saw that, because when it said we knew it was going to be north of £1 million and they're coming to us for a grant scheme, I'm thinking, ooh.
So the current, and I can't say current proposal because it's not been adopted yet, but the proposal that is currently being fleshed out doesn't yet have a formal costing alongside of it. The people who are working on that are hoping to get that in place over the next couple of weeks. But my guess it could be a tenth of the price of what the original proposal was, so substantially different.
And again, when we looked at the survey results that came through, there were various comments about the village hall. Some people really wanted it to be upgraded in this special new place. Others said just keep the expense down of hiring the hall. So I think there's quite a lot to be taken from the survey results that would feed into that and to that view.
And that's actually formed the checklist that the board proposals, to be frank, are being considered against. So the revised proposal won't tick every box, but ticks the vast majority of them. I think it'd be fair to say that the original proposal, £1 million plus, does tick every box, but is at some cost and some length of getting the job done. So.
Right, thank you, Simon. Next, forward plan. We've agreed to cancel the August meeting, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because of the county show. And then we've got these items 3, 3, 4. Now, you're saying you wanted to consider the cemetery and the grass cutting. Can we do those as working groups?
Well, at the moment we do the cemetery as a working group anyway. We've been doing it on and off for the last 18 months with all the work that needed doing. And then obviously the tender only comes around every 2 to 3 years, so there's no formal committee for that. So whether you want to have a working group, a committee.
Well, a working group can just meet casually, can't they? Whereas if we have a committee, we've got to publish papers and all the rest of it. So I think because we talked about the dates, and this is why I wanted to think about it, because I was wondering if we could take them both at the 1st of September meeting. So if we worked them up during the summer and then brought them down for formal decisions at the 1st of September meeting, and then we could have a closed session at the end to discuss any new contracts.
So formal decision to in terms of award of the contracts, because if that's the case, are we saying that the working group will approve? Because we are talking about tweaks to the tender, we're not rewriting them, it's just bringing them up to date.
Yeah.
So that's the responsibility of the working group, yeah?
Yes.
And so, and are we saying that we start the tender process so that by the time the 1st of September comes, that's when we decide it? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as I can work backwards and I think what I need to do.
I always work backwards too.
Yeah.
So yes, we can we can do that in a closed session and just have one meeting.
Okay, that's fine. So at least I know where we are with that.
And
Just on the cemetery working group and the forms, are we saying that we can just go ahead, tweak, because it's just a case of tweaking what we've already got, but it's just putting some conditions in there regarding the visits by funeral directors, etc.
It's just those safeguardings, isn't it?
Yeah, so can we just go ahead and
I think
we've agreed within the cemetery group we can get the new ones published because they're already online.
They're already on
It's just a case of updating.
Yeah, fine.
You're
I'm
okay.
happy with
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, you know, we have a meeting every month, and quite often we're waiting for like the bin man to come, you know, the man to assess the bins or the man to assess what was the other thing. You know, I'm thinking 2 months is a bit too long, a month is a bit too short because we haven't got stuff coming back. But I was thinking if we could change the 6th of October meeting to the 27th of October and then miss out the 3rd of November meeting. But in that November meeting, the Finance Committee could do a real piece of work, setting the budget and the precept. Then we're sort of making use of the working groups rather than just meeting every month and saying, oh, we'll keep it on the agenda and update it. I think, you know, 4 to 6 weeks is, 4 weeks is too long, 8 weeks is probably, 4 weeks is too short, 8 weeks is a bit too long. 6 weeks is about right. Interested to hear what anybody else thinks about that.
So we're looking at 27th of October.
So I would say change the 6th of October meeting to either 27th of October or the 3rd of November, so that we just have one meeting instead of two.
That's a massive gap between the 1st of September and
1st of September.
1st of September and the 27th of October, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially what you're saying there is we missed the October meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 27th of October then, and then skip the 3rd of November.
I don't think it matters either way then.
So the 1st of
The
September to the
principle's the
27th
It's a week
is
difference, isn't it?
like 2 months.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's too much.
Well, we're
1st of
missing
September.
August, aren't we?
Well, that's what I say. Do we want to miss August and miss another month further
Well,
down the
no.
line?
We'll be having a September meeting. So we miss August, but we have 1st of September.
And then it's another 8 weeks until to 27th.
But if we meet with these committees, the Finance Committee and things, we're progressing work, it's just we're not having a formal meeting. I can leave you to think about it, because we're meeting, when we're next meeting,
So
1st of September.
Yeah.
So we can think about it over the summer, see how much work comes in over August.
Yeah.
If we were going to do that, as well as the working groups that we've just discussed, I think we ought to put the working group in to just finish off the work that we were doing on the parish plan.
Oh,
And
absolutely, yes.
produce the action plan.
Yeah, so we'd have the cemetery, the grass cutting, the parish plan, and then later on, the Finance Committee to do that. And so that the actual groups mean something, they're progressing the business, we're just sort of nitpicking it and bringing it to full council for sign off. Because I think there's an element of duplication when we ask these committees to meet on working groups, and then we're just repeating the business in these meetings, so it would make it more efficient. But I'm happy to take other comments, think about it, and see how we get on the 1st of September.
I think if we were to do that, there would have to be a commitment that says each one of those were then brought forward with a proposal that the council could then adopt.
Absolutely.
or not, as the case may be, of course. But for us to fail in that process and lose a month would be
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
would
terrible.
not be acceptable. Yeah.
So I'd bring that back on in September, the October meeting.
Sorry?
Bring the October meeting back in September to see how we get on during August.
Yeah, we're just going to think about it.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's 1st of September.
Oh, sorry,
6th
bring it
of
back, I
October.
thought you meant bring the October meeting back
Yeah,
in September and having...
Bring the
first-
discussion, bring the discussion.
Yeah,
on
right,
it.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Just stumped me. Yeah, we'll do that then. And then I think confirm the date of the future meetings, which is what we've just done. 8:40, meeting closed.